Hello everybody, I'm back, and this is going to be another video on poor man stuff. And today we're going to look at a poor man's powder coating setup. So I did a video the other day, last week, 2 weeks ago, whenever, about my poor man sandblasting cabinet, and it got mixed reviews, I guess. But anyway, so I'm going to powder coat a piece, and this is all on the dirt sheet. It's Harbor Freight stuff, it's cardboard, it's, old wire, it's all kinds of stuff. So if you don't know what powder coating is, I'll give you a brief description. It's like paint, but it comes out of the gun as a powder coating. You follow me, all right? Then once you get the piece, that's what I'm going to be doing, get the piece coated with the powder, you cook it, and it melts the powder into a really hard finish if done properly. So I had to read back up on this stuff. I hadn't done any in a few years, and I was just going to do this piece. And you'll notice I'm wearing gloves, and that's not really anything except to try to keep the oils off my skin from getting on my part. It's been cleaned, it's been wire brushed, it's ready, it's bare metal, and so that's why I have these gloves on. Plus, the powder is like baby powder. If you know what that stuff's like, it gets everywhere. All right, so let's go through and I'll show you what we're working with. All right, so first off, the best thing I've got, it's not that. It's this piece down here. All right, so this is the powder coating system from Harbor Freight. All right, so what makes powder coating, the powder stick to the metal piece, is electricity. All right, so this is up, and it is an alligator clip to that little piece right there. So that is a copper wire that I have bent up. It goes through, let me get my flashlight, because I don't know how to work this camera if it even has a, alright, see the wire sticks through there, and that's a copper wire. My loop that my piece is hanging on is also a copper wire. So when I put the alligator clip there, it negatively charges my piece. And then the powder coming out of the gun has a positive charge. And that is what makes the powder stick to the piece. All right, so what I've done here is I've made this, let me see if I can set this up right here without it causing too much problem. All right, so I've set this up, I've bent this wire. Here's another one. Let me show you what I can do. So you put it on here like this, and then when you coat one side, I spin the piece around and coat the other side. So you do this, you spin it around, you coat that side. All right, so see how that's bent into a special shape that holds it up into the cardboard, but yet lets me turn it around. And as you can tell, I've done some pieces in here. Word to the wise, I vacuum out the powder that doesn't stick, because there's a lot of it, and it's very fine. So don't use a vacuum cleaner that you think you want to keep. All right, so I said you had to bake it or cook it. So here's another poor man situation right here. Whoa. As you can tell, this is an old toaster oven. And I've got a thermometer in there, and I've got a hook that rests on that. Now, I can only do small pieces because when you shut this door, there's only so much room in there to hang a piece, and it can't touch anything or it screws it up. So I've got this figured out, kind of, and I've done it before. So you have to preheat your oven to 400 degrees for this powder. Then you hang the piece in there, all right? And it'll start to melt. And once it melts into a shiny surface, you give it 15 more minutes on the timer. And then when the timer's done, you open it up just a little bit so that some of the hot air gets out and it cools slowly. If it doesn't cool slowly, or if it doesn't get hot enough, or doesn't last long enough, the finish either gets dull or it doesn't adhere and it's junk and it's hard to get off. So, word to the wise. Okay? So, you have to hook air pressure up to the gun. Let me show you the gun. Look at my box while I do this. I don't want to show you my junk. I got lots of junk. So here's the gun. This is where the powder comes out on the tip. This is the canister that holds the powder, and I'm doing black. Plug it in here. It's got a water separator. All right. So you squeeze the trigger just like a paint gun, and it comes out. You press on the foot pedal, and that sends the electricity to the piece. So it's a multi-step process, and if it's done properly, it turns out pretty good. So you got to have extension cords or electricity. Here's the foot pedal. Here's some old rags because I cleaned that off. All right. So let me get you set up here, and I apologize up front because this tripod and this mount are not friends. No, they are not friends, so there's going to be a little herky-jerky motion here as I get it snapped into position. Sorry, get it in there. Come on. All right. There we go. Well, that wasn't too bad, I don't think. I don't know. What do you think? Was that too bad? Let me see my screen so I can line you up. And as always, I apologize because my screen's broke here in the back. What are you doing? Spin around there. About right? Okay. Right there's good. Apparently that's where it likes it. All right? So, let me do some hookup. Make sure that that's spun around so I get it there. That's ready. Apologize up front for the noise. There's going to be a vacuum cleaner running. Let me check make sure we're in frame here. Oh, pan back. I think that's about centered in my screen, I hope. I won't be able to hold this light while I'm doing it. I wish I could. Let me see if I can come up with a better light. Something with magnet on it. Hold on. Be right back. Alright, let's see if this will do the trick. Probably not. It's better than nothing, but it's not as good as I'd like to have. Alright, let's see. Maybe if we do it this way. Does that help? I think that's better. I really do. I think that's better. Be nicer if it was closer, but it's not closer. So it's just going to have to be. Alright, so I've got my air regulator, which I hope still works. I tested it. Set to 30 pounds. All right. We turn the vacuum cleaner on. That's clipped up. Got everything plugged in. Have to turn the power on. Plug this up. We'll be ready to roll. Oh, what I'm going to do here, while we're covering the part, I'm going to preheat my oven. So it's going to be clicking, it's going to be ticking, and it's going to be vacuum cleaner, and it's going to be noise. But maybe I'll do another time lapse. Put in some gorgeous music so you don't have to listen to it, and we'll roll with it. First problem. Powder is not alright. Second problem. Apparently you cannot run the vacuum and the oven at the same time. Word to wise. Can't run them both at the same time. Alright? Now I'm just going to give it a little spray here. I'm not touching the foot pedal, doing anything like that. I just want to see how it comes out. Can you see it puffing? That's not enough. Whoa! That might be a little much. Still might be a little much. Let's try that. Alright. On your mark, get set. On your mark, get set, go. And I lost air pressure. Oh my gosh. Alright, here we go. Oh my gosh. Alright, so I don't know if you can see it, but that part is covered. Alright, so I'm letting off the foot pedal. Turn it around on the edge here, give that a little touch. Back on the pedal. Alright, off the pedal. Get her around a little more. Alright, back on the pedal. Get some on that edge. Here's the top. Right off the pedal. Alright, let's see. I see any shiny spots. Hard to tell. Move it around. Okay. I don't see any shiny spots. Disconnect the pair. Turn off my power. Right there. Okay, so I guess you can see in there. I hope you can. Looks pretty decent. Let me undo my alligator clip. Gotta be easy because you don't want that to fall. Or if it does, you've screwed the pooch, as they say. Alright. So it looks pretty standard. Pretty standard coat. Is it enough? Is it too much? Who knows? Okay. So now the vacuum's not running. I'm going to preheat my oven. Alright, and I think what I'm going to do, I'm not going to time lapse this, I'm going to turn this off. Once the oven's preheated, I'll show you. Let me just go ahead and show you this. So that's a pretty long piece of, if you want to know, it's an alternator bracket. So the top bolt bolts to the engine block, this slotted bolts to the alternator, and that allows you to adjust the belt tension on your alternator. Look it up if you don't know what that is. So it's pretty long, and what I had to do is I pre-measured it in my oven because my oven's only so big, and my hook that I have right here, I got to be careful not to touch it, not to touch the part, is just, I made it shorter, just the right length, so that when I put the part in there and the door is shut, it doesn't touch the bottom. Alright, so you've got to do a little pre-work. You got to test stuff out. And I cleaned off my copper wire with the wire brush so that I knew, hoped, crossed my fingers and hoped that it would conduct electricity. Because if it doesn't, the stupid thing won't work. The whole process is just junk. Alright, so let me show you real quick the tip. Can you see? You can adjust this, and as you can tell, I didn't. But the tip is a cone, comes out, it hits the cone, and then it billows. So you can screw the cone in or screw it out to make it bigger or not. You can tell it's messy. If you did it a lot, you'd get more proficient at it. And when I first got it, of course, I was really excited. And I did several pieces. And I wasn't perfect, but it was pretty decent. Now, I read through the instructions, like I said, and what it said is now this thing is still energized. So what you have to do is touch your negative piece to the positive piece, and the center of this cone is metal. It's screwed in there. And that's how it puts positive charge on the dust as it comes out. Now what I'll have to do is I'll clean the tip off, get all that out, and it'll be clean and I can put it up, get the powder off of it, of the thing. Now the powder comes from Harbor Freight, and it is designed to use with this gun. Alright, and as you can tell, it is terribly, terribly nasty. Alright, so I wished I had a little better place. All this needs to be cleaned up. Now, this is black. Harbor Freight sells white, yellow, and red. And I have all of those. And since it's all the same manufacturer, so it says matte black powder coat paint, 16 ounce. You can mix this up like paint. So I have mixed, the gun comes with a couple of empty containers. And I have mixed equal amounts of the black and the white to make a gray. It turns out pretty good. You just mix it in there, equal amounts like with a measuring spoon or cup. Shake it up, all right, so it's even. But, you know, now I have some gray. You know, you can mix black and yellow. You can do all that kind of stuff. But once you mix it, just like anything else, ain't no getting it back. So, you want to experiment with colors, you can do that. If red, yellow, white, and black aren't enough colors, I'm sure you can find some online somewhere that would be compatible with this Harbor Freight setup. And, you know, maybe there's purple. I don't know. But that's hanging there. Let's see what my temperature is on the oven. All right, she's almost up to 350. Almost up to 350. And I actually spilled a little powder on the door here, and it has melted to my door. Well, and that's just peachy keen. I ain't worried about it. Normally, I have the oven set some other place, not right below where I'm working, but I wanted to keep everything together so I didn't have to move you guys around a bunch. And, you know, that's the way it happens. All right, so that's working. You'll have to clean that up. It's preheating. I guess right now we're almost ready. Trying to think of how I need to do it. I can let you down, angle it. I'll try. Let me stop this, and then by the time I get it all set up for the baking process, you'll probably be preheated. All right, we're back. So my oven is at 400 degrees. All right, so we'll get some pliers because I don't want to risk touching any of the hot parts with my gloved hands and stuff. Well, I put it on my little hook in there. And then we'll have to keep an eye on it. And when it turns glossy, we'll turn the timer to 15 minutes. And we'll go from there. All right. So let's see. Bear with me. This is what always kind of scares me, is because you go through all this trouble, right? And then, bam, you drop it, and you got to start all over. On your mark, get set, go. Don't swing. Don't swing. All right. Stop swinging. All right, so it's swinging in there, but that's okay. It's not touching anything. So it's still at 400 degrees. I'll keep an eye on it here. Let's see if we can get you in there. Apologize up front, because it's going to be a herky-jerky start. It's going to be a herky-jerky start. Okay. All right, just a little twitch here. Oh, there it is. All right. Let me see if I can get you in there. You can see what's going on. All right. So see down in there? Can you see it swinging in there? There it is, and there's my temperature. And there's the part. Swinging back and forth, swinging back and forth. It hasn't started melting yet, but you can see how my hook is on there. So it holds it on this piece. I got really lucky with this toaster oven. So it's one we used in the kitchen, and unless it's lying on its back like it is right now, the door switch won't activate. So if you're trying to do regular cooking when it's on its feet like it's supposed to, the oven won't come on because it thinks the door's open. But if you lay it on its back like it is right now, gravity helps you. Another little herky-jerky going on here. And the oven works. So it worked out really nice for what I'm trying to do. Hold on. Whoa, sorry about that. Whoa, hold on. We're all crazy. Getting crazy, man. Crazy. All right. And so, my wife don't care. And it stores on the shelf. Everything goes back in its box like it's supposed to. And I keep the sprayer in the box. Alright, some of it is really starting to smooth up. It's still at 400 degrees. She's starting to turn a little shiny at the top. Like I said, it's all got to be, I guess you would say, it's supposed to be melted, and then the extra 15 minutes bakes it. So you don't start your 15-minute time until everything is melted and it's shiny. Then once that happens, then that's when I set it for 15 minutes. And it'll start the curing process, I guess. Baking, curing it. Still just a little bit down near the bottom. And this toaster oven does a pretty decent job of heating it evenly. Alright? And one of the things I failed to mention, when you're thinking about the parts you're going to work with, you got to think it through a little bit. I'm not saying that I'm perfect at that, but you have to figure out where you're going to hang it. Because, think about it. Where it's hanging on that piece of wire doesn't get coated with the powder. So I picked the hole that a bolt was going to go through. And since the bolt's going to go through there, I don't care if it's powder coated. Powder coating is, serves multi-purposes. One is looks, of course. You want it to look nice. Plus, it is like paint. It's, corrosion protection for the metal. So, you want to get as much of it coated as you can, but, you want it to look good. So, figure out your part, test fit it in whatever oven, come out with, your own way of hanging it, whatever you do, but test it. Alright, so now, let's see. Alright, she's melted. So right now, I will set the timer 10, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. I'm going to set it to about right there. I'm thinking that's about 15 minutes. Alright? Is it 400? It looks like I've messed with that a little bit. On the powder container, it tells you what temperature to set it at and its cure time, all that kind of stuff. So it's not, those are kind of rule of thumbs. Let's see. After the entire surface has been melted or glossed over, bake the coated piece at 400 degrees for an additional 15 to 20 minutes. Alright? So, I had to read the instructions a couple of times. Excuse me. Turn that up another minute. Just to understand what it meant by that. So it picks up on the fact that you've already coated it, and it wants you to melt it to a shiny, then, start your timer. That's the way I understand it, and by golly, that's what we're doing. Right or wrong, that's the way I'm going to do it. All right, so nothing going on. It's like freaking watching paint dry. So I'm going to shut this off, and when the timer goes off, I'll be back to get you. All right, I'm back. So the timer went off. Dinger, dinger. What are they doing with the flashlight, man? Really? Oh, there you are. Hi. All right. So the timer went off. Yeah. Looks pretty good down in there. Alright, so now what I'm supposed to do is open the door and let it, just a little bit, and let it cool slowly. And so I've got this piece of wire. I don't know how much I should open it. What do you think? About that much? Let it cool slow. Is that too much? I don't know. Was that enough? It was at 400. It's already at 350. Let me turn it up here again like that. Alright. Alright. Let me take you off the pedestal. Tripod. Once again, I'm sorry. Here we go. Little jerk. Ooh, big jerk. Here we go. All right. So let's see. Can you see down in there? I can't see the screen. Let me get for the glare. Where's my? There it is. Okay. So you can kind of see the part down in there. It's hard to get the show you the finish because of the glare. But she's down in there. It didn't drip on the bottom, which means I didn't overheat it. If you overheat it, it can make a drip. The coating actually gets so hot it runs, and it'll drip off onto the bottom of the oven. So I didn't do that. We're about coming down to 300. All right. So let me shut off my light, get you back on the tripod. While that was cooking, I went out and cleaned up. Come on, dude. Oh, got my thumb caught in it. All right, we're not quite as high. Pan it around. The reason I have to pan it, once again, my screen's broke, so I can't see the half the screen or 3/4 of the screen unless I pan it and then make sure it's lined up, the shot's lined up. So sorry about that. Well, you could buy me a new camera if you wanted to. That would be super sweet. But, alright, so while that was cooking, I went out, took the machine, and I cleaned it. So what I wish they would do is make this kind of like more like a welding setup where all your cords and connections and all that stuff could be, undone. So the box would be a piece and maybe the power cord a piece. But, some of the other things like the gun cord and the foot pedal, make them so those can come off. I mean, I can understand why they do it. But you got the power cord, you got the negative cord, you got the gun cord, and then you got the foot pedal. How many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, what are you doing, Pinky? All right. 4. 4 cords that are attached to the box. It's a real pain in the butt. Trying to roll them up, not to, so they're not in your way while you're trying to clean the gun. And what I did is I took low pressure, 30 or 40 pounds, and that's what I was running in the compressor to make the gun work. And took an air gun and outside, do this part outside, and run air through it, over it, got all that powder out. I actually, used the air to make the gun operational again, and blew it out the front. And one of the things you want to do is make sure that you clean it well, because if you go from, like today, if next week I want to do something in white or yellow, I don't want black powder in there. And sure, I mean, you could do a few puffs out to make sure it's clean, but is it going to be clean? And it comes off easy as long as it's dry. And that's another thing I didn't mention. On the bottom of the gun, it comes with a water separator for your air. Now, I was planning on this last night, so I emptied my tank, my air compressor tank, and got all the water that I could get out of it. All right, so there was, little to no water in the tank. I have a water separator onto my compressor, and then I use the one that screws into the bottom of the gun. So it's very important that the powder doesn't get wet. Just like anything else, it clumps, it clogs it, anything. You've got to have dry air. Keep the powder dry. Same thing with sandblasting. You've got to have dry air. You've got to have dry sand. So all that stuff has to be dry, and it works. So I cleaned it. I spent almost 15 minutes cleaning it, because that's when I came back in, this thing was ready to dinger. And so I put it all back in the box. I used bread ties. Oh, there's one. I missed that one. I used bread ties to do the cords. It's all styrofoam packed, so everything has a place. You put it in there, put it back in the box, and you put it on a shelf. All right? Now, I did this because I was, I needed the alternator bracket. I was going to paint it, and I thought, hey, you know what? I got mixed reviews on my poor man's sandblasting cabinet. I'll just do a video on my poor man's powder coating booth, setup, whatever. Yeah, so if you're going to do this, like I said on that other video, if I had a dedicated sandblasting cabinet, maybe I would sandblast more stuff. If I had a dedicated powder booth set up, then maybe I would powder coat more stuff instead of spray paint it. But, it's quite a bit of work to set it up, make it work, take it back down, clean it, take it back down, and repackage it. But, if you're going to do something like engine accessories like what this was, then plan ahead. Plan ahead, clean them all up, do the 4 or 5 brackets, engine mounts, whatever it is that you want to do, all at one time, and then put it away. So that's my words of wisdom, if you want to call it that. Let's see what that thing says now as far as temperature goes. Alright, so it's down to about 200 degrees. What I want to do is I'm going to get it out. I'm going to show it to the camera, and we're going to end it. We're going to end the video. Hold that. So I'm thinking it's down, when it's down to 200, hopefully that's cool enough. So it says if you cool it too quickly, it's not shiny. The finish is not shiny. It won't see, my door won't stay up. Alright, so there it is. I don't know how well that's going to be showing up on screen, but it looks fairly decent from what I can tell. Let me not drop it. It should be pretty cured by now. Let me see if I can get it in frame. I have to go over here. Okay. So there it is. I'm afraid it's too hot to touch. I can't really angle it up or show it to you. But let's see what we could do. Let me loosen this up a little bit. Oh, wrong way. Sorry, people. Tilt her up there. How's that? Is it in frame? There it is. Oh. Alright, so is it perfect? No, it's not perfect. The metal wasn't perfect. It just shows, to show you all the imperfections. Where I ground on it, this piece was welded to something else, so I had to cut the welds off. Had to weld up the hole. They'd boogered up this hole. Had to weld that up. And, yeah, I mean, it's not perfect. If you want perfect, buy new. That's what I tell you. If you think you want to do it on your own, here we go. Then get you one of these setups. That's what I tell you. Get you one of these setups. Do it on your own. Have a little fun. And there's the other side. I hope that's in frame. Who knows? Hold on. Click. Let's get over here. Whoop. There it is. All right. So there you have it. I hope I'm not talking too loud. If you're listening with earphones, sorry. Okay. And that is how I do powder coating. Cardboard box. Old beat up vacuum cleaner. Some wire. And a used toaster oven. And the only thing I bought, basically, was the powder coating and some colors. So anyway, all right, if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. Like, subscribe to the channel. Leave me a comment. Tell me how you do it. Tell me what I did wrong. Tell me what I did good. Today's Friday, the 10th of January, 2026. Happy New Year. No, it's not the 9th. What am I thinking? The 2nd. I don't know. The 2nd of January. Yesterday was New Year's Day. What did I think the 9th? I don't know. Wishing my life away, I guess. Anyway, I did a live show last night. Check that out. I do one every Thursdays at 9 p.m. I didn't do one Christmas or I didn't do one Thanksgiving, but majority Thursday nights, 9 p.m. I do a live show, so jump over there to the live playlist and look at all those. There's over 200 videos there. And, yeah, there we go. Yeah, it's not hot. I'm going to let it cool down, go eat me some lunch, and get on with the rest of my day. All right, I appreciate it. Till the next video, got my little remote. Got to press it twice. Once,